Blog Talk Radio.
We welcome the night.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Horror Night Oasis, a radio show where we discuss all the latest movies and news from the world of horror. Joining me tonight, hopefully, are you there, Ian?
I hope so.
How are you this week?
Very tired.
I hear you. But we are here, and been a busy little bit of a week here, and the weather's getting chilly. Some places it's snowy. Some places it's tornadoes striking down. So it's all over the place, weather-wise. But we're here to continue on our Christmas Horrors Marathon with a brand new film. We're not going to Tubi here, folks. We got a new one. So yay us!
We're moving up in the world.
Moving up in the world, and we actually watched what felt like a movie. But we're going to be talking about the latest film from Joe Begos, Christmas Bloody Christmas. And I've pretty much seen all this director's filmography. So it's always interesting to see, again, interesting, always use that word, what he usually comes up with, because, you know, a few years back he did VFW, and I don't know if we both reviewed that or not. We might have. But either one of us might have seen it, and then he did Bliss, like not soon after that. And I wasn't the biggest fan of Bliss. I wasn't the biggest fan of The Mind's Eye either, but I liked this one well enough. Spoilers. More so than a few of them. But we'll get into that, and we'll get into Christmas Bloody Christmas. Christmas Bloody Christmas is about Tori, who runs a record sort of vinyl everything spot, you know, vinyl, there's VHS, there's Blu-rays, movies, all that stuff, posters, I'm assuming. It's just like a hot spot in this town where she's in. Tori is a little bit of don't know. I guess, Ian, you know those types more than I do. What would you consider Tori's character?
I'd say she was like punk-esque, like hardcore metalhead.
Yeah.
A little bit of both,
and so,
or all of the above.
So she runs this record shop, and she has her friend Robbie, who's also in the same way, and they just, sprout shit back and forth, music references, movie references, just a lot of references, and they're, just like, normal friends would do probably if you got drunk and just, like, shit the bed for a while, just like get drunk, shoot the shit, just have a, party and just sprout shit that just doesn't make any sense, but yet, like, they're really, on that, like, their opinion's, like, fact, like, oh, yeah. So, like, they're kind of bickering back and forth, in a fun, friendly way. And it's, again, I don't know if it's, like, Christmas Eve or Christmas, but it's, like, again, I think it is because everyone's leaving. And there's, like, again, nobody in the town after everyone leaves the record store. They're all home. And so there's a news story and, like, again, some exposition here and there, which I thought they did well, better than the fucking Nutcracker, which is a fucking 30-minute exposition dump. This one, like, they give you hints of what's going on. Like, okay, yeah, perfect sense. They didn't need to go a whole fucking backstory with the killer robot Santa. But there's these, there's a recall on the Robo-Santas, and basically because they were made by the military, they're kind of shortening out and reverting back to their military intelligence, AI, that were used, and it goes on, it comes to life, it becomes sentient, and goes on a murdering rampage, and that's the gist of the movie. But yeah, it's like, it's in so basically, again, like the Santa's in this toy store. Tori and Robbie, they close up shop. They go meet Tori's friend, who's works at the toy store. They have sex, and then the Santa just becomes sentient and grabs a fireman's axe from the back room and goes on from there, where it's chasing down people it sees and killing them in pretty violent ways. And it basically just kind of follows Tori for the remainder of the movie. So in a sense, it's sort of, again, no way to put it, it's the Terminator Christmas, edition, basically, where, you have the Terminator going after Sarah Connor. And overall, it wasn't too bad of a movie. I mean, like I said earlier, I had fun with it. The first act of, the bickering, the references, I felt like a little on the nose. Again, some people are going to like that, some people might not. Again, it gives them a little bit of character development, I guess, because you're going, you're trying to build this, dynamic and this relationship both of them have, that they're kind of, they have feelings towards one another. And, again, earlier on, Tori's supposed to go on this date with this one guy, and, like, they're going back and forth, it's 4 kids, like, and all kinds of little insider, quibs and stuff like that, jabs at her going on this Tinder date. And they're just having fun, bickering. And then they go to Tori's sister's place where she's staying, and, again, it just goes on from there, where the Robo-Santa is just on a murdering spree with his axe, and again, it is pretty violent, and I like that. It's, again, all practical, and that's another thing. I really enjoyed the practicality of everything, and then towards the last act as well, when the Santa becomes, you see the robot skeleton, it looks pretty damn cool, and again, the look again of a Joe Bezos film is the look and the anesthetic, like the neon colors and the brightness and I know Bliss had a lot of that, VFW had that, so it's very, like neon, Christmas, lighting, like sort of new wave-ish colors. And I like that aspect with the snow because it really makes everything stand out and pop, especially on the Santa Claus when he starts lighting up. And again, the violence, the gore was done pretty well. There's a lot of people getting split in half, heads decapitated, stomped on, the shotgun blast to the head, child death. You can't go wrong with that's great. That scene was fun. And again, everyone knows, especially Ian. He knows my opinion on watching children being slaughtered. It's awful. But again, it's one little joy I get out of life. I hate to say it. Just seeing people stab babies and throw children through windows. It's just hey, it's the little things in life, and especially in a Christmas movie, brings me a little bit of joy to the end of the year. We started out with smashing babies with hammers, and we end it with a headless child being tossed through the window. But again, it's a fun little flick for what it is. I mean, it's not. I don't think it's going to be one of those in rotations, but it's it was reminded me of all those early '90s flicks. Maybe a little bit. Again, of course, Terminator. I mean, there's no doubt. But I was thinking Class of 1999, Hardware. Just those killer robot movies from that time, and it just reminded me of that, and it was just fun, little slasher movie with a killer Santa, and it doesn't. Again, you're going to go in there for the gore and the violence, and again, the Santa aspect's pretty solid, and again, the way the Santa is, and the actor that played the Santa did a pretty good job being a robot. And shortening out his circuits and everything. And again, the last act was pretty damn good too, because it's just a spree at the end of it where it's just constant. Where to go to the house, and then the house is a battlefield, and then they go outside of the house with the car, and then the police car, and then they go to the sheriff's station, and then that becomes a battlefield, and then the ambulance, and then the record store. So it's just a constant moving, constantly keeping the mayhem going forward. So I like that aspect of it. But Ian, I'll let you go back I'll let you go ahead, and then we'll go back and forth on things.
Right. Well, I agree. The colors, the way the film looked was pretty great. I actually really liked it. I was kind of, watching the trailers and stuff. I've been kind of wanting to watch, really wanting to watch this, and honestly, it met my expectations. I just expected it to be a Silent Night, Deadly Night Terminator movie, and that's what I got. Because, it was fun. I thought it was really nice that they didn't spend too much time building up the characters, who we should care about and whatnot, before, the chaos ensued. And I like that they gave us breaks in between the murder to kind of just give us a breather. And I thought that was really well done, where it wasn't just oh my God, it doesn't stop. I mean, I felt like that, but then, it kind of eased up to give us, more details about the town and, going to the police station and doing this and this and this. And then it's and here comes, Santa driving an ambulance. And I was like, dang. I was like, that's nice. And I just really had a fun watch, and I'm just so glad because the other movies we've watched were kind of, I think this is going to be the best one of of this marathon.
Yeah, I mean, again, and plus, again, it has a little bit more of a budget, and it has a more a well-balanced a director that knows what he's doing, because again, if you know his previous works, you kind of know what you're getting into, because he can handle the idea of a robotic killing Santa,
right,
more than some random, probably British director doing a 6-foot-tall Nutcracker movie. Just like, it just doesn't work. Or just somebody in the backwoods of West Virginia doing a werewolf movie. Just like, at least he's sort of well known in the indies horror scene, that people they know his stuff. And again, like, I think this one, it has parts where I was like, okay, again, I wasn't the biggest fan of the first act, but again, you had to get character development, and I do think there was something there that was sort of missing in certain aspects of the film, but it didn't take my enjoyment out of the film, because it does kind of just go on, but I felt like it needed like a little extra momentum shove, just like a little gentle push in another direction, to do. I don't know what it is, but there's something there I just can't think of. But like when I watch it, like, okay, it needs this, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But I still had fun with it. The murdering spree was good, and the last act, like again, it's just a constant, just murdering spree of people getting hacked to death. And tossed around brutally, too, just like the sheriff gets tossed, that kid gets tossed, the windows of the automobiles, they get, like, tossed, tables. Like, he loves turning shit over, the Santa.
He does. And, like tearing windshields off.
Yeah. He had a fun time just wrecking shit. But yeah, like again, it's sort of a mindless film. I mean, it's not one of those where it's like grating, like fucking Nutcracker. It's just perfect for what it is, and it is, and it hits all the balances pretty well. Again, it might have a rough start because again, character development, their conversations sort of meandering around a little bit, but it's what it is for what they're trying to develop with their love story. That again, I don't want to spoil anything since it's still new. But there's just constant, Santa going around murdering people. I mean, that's what you want, out of the film, and that's what you get. And it just keeps going and, climactic, action until he's shooting laser beams out of his eyes, just like it keeps ratcheting up all the action until its epic conclusion there at the record shop. And I think it was pretty. Again, it's an easy watch. I mean, I can't really say anything really too negative about it. It's mindless fun, and that's what you'd want out of a Christmas slasher. I mean, the one I was like thinking of was when I was watching this was Christmas Blood. The one that was like Swedish or Norway or Finnish or whatever, where it had the roaming Santa going in and out of houses and the police stations, like, and it was boring. That one was just like so damn long and boring, and like for a killer Santa movie, it needed to be like more fun, and like at least this one it does that. It's like I was thinking of also the Silent Night remake that they did back in 2012, and I was like. Cause that sort of hits the same beats too, and plus like the way the Santa looked, sort of like mechanical with his face. But that one takes place in like a sheriff's station as well at one point. Most of the film, but this one is again with the colors, the way everything goes. Again, the characters, you either hate them or love them, because again, there's not that much depth, but there's more to it than they were in Werewolf. So that's again because you kind of get their personalities, and again, besides her sister and her husband, her sister's husband, and all that stuff. Yeah. But you get a good idea of what like Tori and Ronnie and the sheriff having to work on Christmas and everything like that, and all the shit he has to go through. And he has like 4 kids as well. So like you get a little bit of like backstory sprinkled in through the film, and it works for what they're trying to accomplish. And again, I have fun with it. I probably would watch it again. Where I probably wouldn't the other two.
Right. No, same here. I definitely would watch this again. And I think my biggest complaint was that the running joke about Tori's Tinder date dragged on way too long. Like, it was at least 10 minutes long of just back and forth, and keep bringing them up. I'm just like, we get it. You want to fuck her. We get that. And you're jealous that she has a date. But, you know, we can stop making jokes about this now. Because, like, they were barely funny in the first place. Now it's just beating a dead horse. And that's you know, if that's one of my biggest complaints, you know, I'll take it.
Yeah. Again, there's a lot of references in there, too. Just, you know, like, what's the best Christmas song, you know, and then, like, they're, you know, comparing stuff back and forth. And they even bring up, like, an episode of Beavis and Butthead. And there's just a lot of, you know, again, it's unusual dialogue, too, but I kind of, like, again, it stands out. You know, it does kind of help make things stand out. It doesn't, you know, sort of like, what was that John Cusack movie, Grosse Point Blank? Or was that it, the one they worked in the record shop and, like, they quit back and forth? Sort of like a Clerks, sort of, you know, where they're going back and forth, you know, like references and stuff.
I don't remember what it's called. I know what you're talking about. Isn't that the movie with Jack Black? It's been a very long time since I watched. That's what I want to call it. Maybe that's what I was actually thinking, but I don't know.
I think Grosse Point Blank is the one with him and Minnie Driver, but I think it's High Fidelity. But yeah, the one with him in the record store, Jack Black, and again, it has that, you know, just them quipping back and forth. The first act, again, character development. I don't know how many times I have to say that, but again, it's fine. I mean, like I said, it's better than what we've watched, and it's probably better than some of the shit we've watched in the past. So honestly, it might be the high point of the Christmas Horrors Marathon of all time.
The high point of all of the marathons this year.
Yeah.
Well, at least from the last 3 months.
Yeah, definitely. So I can't really complain. It's a fun, decent watch, and you know, just get past that little bumpy first act, and then you're on, you know, it's sort of like, again, I'm bringing up other shit. On Halloween, you know, the clown movie that we watched, where you have to, it just has that long, drawn-out beginning, but once the clown, everyone gets to the forest and the woods, then it's just like a straight spree of, like, the clown and all kinds of crazy shit happening. So it's sort of like that, where you have to go through, like, this long, you know, like, again, development of stuff and, you know, references, but then once it hits that certain part of throwing a child through a window, you're pretty much set for the rest of the course of the movie.
Yeah, and I think, like, the murders start around, like, what, half an hour mark was when the murder started?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then after the kid gets killed, that's when, like, all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, that's when the emergency brake goes off and you're just careening downhill. You know, that's when it's going straight for it. You know, that's the best part. Like, what a way to kick it off too. You know what? Fuck this. We're gonna throw a headless child through a window, and that's boom. And then it just keeps going from there. And again, it's not the most outlandish, you know, stuff. It's just straight slasher tropes and stuff like that you normally get with, like, a mass slasher, but it's a robotic Santa. So, you know, it's all the same shit, but it's fun. You know, it's honestly better than some slashers. So, again, it's perfectly fine Christmas mindless movie. I mean, I didn't have a thing wrong. I mean, again, my few things here and there, but nothing to really take me out of the, you know, having fun with it.
Yeah.
You know, again, it's fun for what it is. I mean, so it's definitely one I would suggest. Again, if you're a fan of the director's previous work, or if you want something, you know, actually a good, you know, fun Christmas movie and not fucking Nutcracker Massacre or Werdeer, yeah, you know, it's definitely up there. You know, not no Christmas Blood or oh God, I'm trying to think of, like, honestly, I liked Once Upon a Time Before Christmas, so I didn't really mind that one. That's sort of the same thing too, but that's Joker and Harley Quinn, but with a Santa and a stripper. So.
Yeah, I actually ended up renting this movie, and because I didn't want to feel full with ads, and I'm cleaning my computer room up right now, so like it's a mess. So I was like, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to rent it and hope I don't hate myself for it. So
yeah,
because
I know that one time you rented one, you like wanted to bust your head through the TV or something. I forgot what that one was, but I know it was terrible. And you're like, I can't believe I paid money for that.
Yeah, no, but like, there's so many Christmas horror movies out this year. It's insane. Like,
yeah.
I saw Silent Night, Bloody Night, or something like that. Can't remember if we watched the first one, but apparently the second one came out this year.
Well, there's a lot of
like,
there's the Silent Night, Bloody Night from the 70s, which is, you know, people consider a classic, even though it's kind of not that great. And then there's the unofficial sequel called Silent Night, Bloody Night, Homecoming, which isn't that great and has nothing really to do with the first one. And then there's the Dustin Ferguson Silent Night, Bloody Night films, and just so yeah, they're all over the place.
Yeah, I just saw it was right underneath it, and I was like, huh. I was trying to, like, I think I've seen it, but also at the same time, like, I've seen so many Christmas slasher movies that, like, they all starting to blend together.
Yeah, again, you watch so many films back to back, and it's just, again, we can pull them out of a hat and just, like, you know, recall all this shit, you know. Other people just watch only Christmas horror movies during this time of the year, and, you know, here we are. We review it constantly. But yeah, I don't really think it's that bad of a movie. It's pretty fun for what it is, and it does what it intends to do. So it sets out and accomplishes everything. It's bloody. It's gore. It has good practical gore, good practical effects with the robot Santa towards the last act. The camera work, you know, we don't bring up camera work that often, but I thought it had some great camera work and the lighting effects with the Santa, like with its green and red shining on him in certain aspects of that. And there's the scene with when the ambulance comes and hits the car and then it explodes, and there's like a look, you know, the way that it explodes and how it sort of burns the other car and like lights it on fire. So there's like all kinds of these like nice little effects, and again, it all blends pretty well, and I enjoy it.
Yeah. You know, I did like the characters, but that's mostly because like I know people like that in real life, and I was just sitting there. I was just like, man, I have probably heard conversations go fairly similar to this, and I was like, they tried to make it seem completely natural, but
yeah, it did feel that way.
My cats just decided to attack each other. Oh my god.
Yeah, that's why jump scared by a cat. But yeah, I think that's going to do it. I mean, I don't think there's really that much else to say about the film because we did enjoy it, and there's not, you know, it's not one of those we can nitpick because there wasn't really too much to nitpick. Besides like the first act. Again, once that first act's done, you're pretty much on course for how the film goes, and it's pretty straightforward from that point on. You know, it's not horrendous backstory like all Nutcracker or a weird deer just like naturally like pounding its hooves on someone's chest with no depth of character. So it's like, again, there's nothing too bad. So hopefully, again, we can keep this pace going because I have an idea of what next week's episode's going to be, and it's going to be, you know, it's going to be interesting. I'll say that because I know, Ian. I have the idea. But that is going to do it, Ian. As always, it's great talking with you. So thanks everyone for listening, and we will see you next time on Horror Night Oasis.
Good night.